Hi friends, and welcome to a super spoilery discussion video. So this morning I finished the storyline for Heavensward, the 3.0, the new one, and I have to talk about it. I really do, because reasons. So if you haven't finished it and you're really into the story right now, I would really suggest just stopping. Just don't watch this video. Just don't watch this video until you finished it, because I'm just gonna talk a little bit, reveal some things possibly, and discuss some speculations that I have. Some interesting speculations. But yeah, I'm giving you all of this time, at least a minute or so, to just click away. Just turn the video off, and don't hate yourself for spoiling all the things. But I'm gonna start like right now. So if you haven't clicked off, I'm sorry, you're gonna just spoilers, but really spoilers. So yeah, oh my god, all the things that just happened. It's insane. First, I want to say, Square Enix, Yoshi P, such a fan service was that the last trial fight was Knights of the Round. I mean, that was amazing. And it took me some time to put that pieces together. After I did the Vault dungeon, and they started mentioning that the knights were using the prayers of Ishgard to basically turn into primals, that was when I kind of figured out, like, oh my god, this is Knights of the Round. And then when the Archbishop turned into King Thoradin, and they all, like, turned into their things, it was amazing. And I really hope they do an extreme version of that fight, because it was definitely just a fan service. Like, none of those attacks hardly did any damage, and it was just, I mean, they even had them doing, like, the attacks from Final Fantasy VII. So, it was amazing. It was one of the best trial fights that I've ever gotten the pleasure of enjoying, because it was just every bit for the fan to enjoy, as it just being like, hey, here's this present for the story, because you've made it this far. Good job. Here you go. And of course, even with that amazingness, they've still, like, there's just cliffhangers everywhere. You found one person, you found Y'shtola, and she's broken. She's blind, and she's killing herself to see, which is amazing. But also, in talking about fan service, now they're discussing live stream stuff with Eorzea, which is interesting to me, because we've gotten the announcement for Final Fantasy VII, the remake is coming out, and now in 14, just as soon as this expansion hits, you've got Y'shtola floating around in the live stream, you've got the Knights of the Round, which was only in Final Fantasy VII, it's just been, hey, here's all these things. So I would be surprised if they didn't have an event in 14 that had some kind of link to 7, just like they did with 13. When 13 launched again, 13.2 or 3 or whatever, when lightning was just bouncing around into different dimensions. But that's a thing. I definitely see that happening. But seriously, Y'shtola, what's happening? We only get one Scion back. We have no idea what's happened to anybody else. Minfilia, Thancred, and what about Papalymo and Ida and Papalymo. Wow, that was bad. But who knows? Hopefully that gets answered in the coming patches. I hope they kind of resolve that storyline at some point. The only storyline that they kind of resolved was the one with the Sultana. And I was actually a little upset that they didn't just leave her dead, because I felt like that was a much more compelling situation, especially when you find out that what the plan was, that Teleji Adeleji was going to use her handmaiden to take over the Sultanate, and then just have it all in his pocket. I mean, there was so much backstabbing in that storyline, and now we've got Roban, who is missing an arm, and I just kind of wonder, I was kind of hoping for Magitech arm, maybe some, Star Wars in there, a little bit, little robot arm, maybe, I still want that to happen. Right now they just got it draped over, so we'll see. He still has a sword in one hand, so I guess that's a thing, but I still would like to see something done to kind of make him more warrior than he was before. But the only thing they did with that storyline was they revived the Sultana. Everyone kind of just went back to their places, and the only person who is actually dead was Telegiadaleji, which I'm not complaining. He deserved it. He was a scumbag. Like, probably one of my most hated characters in this franchise so far. He was just the worst. I mean, it was all about him, and I think that's what really got it. He was such a believable character because his motives were purely human. It was greed. It was greed and power. It was just... He was super easy to dislike because he was such a human character versus everyone else who's kind of above the human status a little bit. Especially when it comes to like the Scions and then the Ascians, they're all like above the realm of human. So, but that's meh. We'll see what happens. They're still talking about the Sultana wanting to turn Ul'dah to a republic and everything, so hopefully they continue on with that. But I also wanted to quickly discuss Alexander, because I don't know how I feel about it. I watched the little cutscene they had at the end of the storyline, where Alexander sticks his foot out of the water, and they didn't really show any... they didn't show the goblin summoning him, but the way he looks is very goblin-esque, I guess. He definitely looks like... He makes me... The way they showed his face, it made me feel like Goblin. And I don't know how I feel about that. Just because... I don't know. The renditions of Alexander, he's either super OP and amazing, or he's really lackluster. And super OP and amazing would be examples like Final Fantasy IX and Type 0. He was absolutely baller in Type 0. I just watched that cutscene earlier. And then they've got, 13, where he's really lackluster. And then they had him in 7, which he wasn't that exciting. The only really cool thing in 7 was he was the only holy damage that you could get, because you couldn't get the holy materia. So, we'll see. I mean, it's a giant fortress. It's very goblin-looking in technology. I was kind of hoping for a variation on what's going on, like maybe... Because they had discussed Tiamat. You meet Tiamat, which I thought was really cool. And she talks about, she was tricked by the Ascians into summoning Bahamut. And the fact that the Alligans have trapped other primals all over the world, and that some of them are worse. So I kind of was hoping that Alexander was one of those primals that had been trapped. So part of me is still hoping that might be true, that yeah, the goblins summoned him, quote, summoned him, but maybe he was sealed in the bubble, because I don't understand what the bubble is for. It hasn't been explained. There's been no real discussion about it other than it's there, it's got rocks sticking out of it, it's just craziness. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out. If it is like straight up goblin primal, that's their primal, I'm not going to be okay with it, I don't think. I mean, the raid's probably going to be fun. I'm sure it's going to be a really fun instance, but just the story behind it. I always hope for big man Alexander with super death rays. That's what I want. Is that too much to ask? Maybe. It might be too much. Oh well, I don't really care. I can't help it. I can't help my wants. So I think the last thing I want to touch on in regards to the way the storyline wrapped up there at the end was the Warrior of Darkness. I had mentioned this before when they did the launch trailer, and they talked about the Warrior of Darkness. And for one of the cutscenes, they show the white-clad Ascian, whose name escapes me. I'm pretty sure I couldn't pronounce it even if I had it in front of me. But he's on the moon. He's on the moon, and you see the planet of Heidelin in the background. And he's addressing the Warrior of Darkness. And he says, it's time for you and yours to join the fray. Well, they show the Warrior of Darkness, but it's that generic warrior that they've shown in all the cutscenes from 1.0. It's that character. And he was like darkened out, he was faded, you couldn't actually like see his features aside from the fact that he was in warrior armor, and you could recognize the hair and some of the face. But I had made the comment earlier that I was kind of hoping they would give us the option, like you could be a warrior of light or warrior of darkness, regardless of the fact that you've been granted Heidelin's gift or whatever. I think just based on what they're showing, because they're using that model, and that model has always been like a representation of the character, of your character. You know, he's really base, he's very generic, he's just the warrior, pretty much. And I still hope, I want there to be two factions for players. I want there to be the Warriors of Light and the Warrior of Darkness in a player-made situation, because I think that would be far more interesting of a dynamic. Because right now the only kind of, and I'm saying this in a PvP sense, because the only sort of PvP we have right now is arena stuff between the Grand Companies, which I just played the first Frontlines mission the other day, and it was pretty great. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know, based on that, just from what they're showing, because I feel like if it was an actual NPC character, they would have shown them. Because why hide it? So maybe I really want it to be players. I really want the players to be the Warrior of Darkness, because it would also make more sense, because the Warrior of Darkness and the Warrior of Light is a balancing act. It's a constant conflict between the two to keep some kind of order in the world, so I think it would make sense to have player and player with Warrior of Light and Warrior of Darkness. And even you think about things like they have Hraesvelgr and Nidhogg. Hraesvelgr is white. He's white as dragon. It's Falcor straight up and down. And then there's Nidhogg, and he is black as night. And I don't know, they're showing all these back and forths, and I don't want it to be, I want there to be some level of choice in it so that you can kind of pick. But I feel like it would be such an undertaking for the development team to have a situation like that where you can choose between the Warrior of Light and the Warrior of Dark. And then the quest lines would have to be completely different, because the Warriors of Darkness, their ends are different. They want some chaos a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see. It could still be just an NPC, and they just decided to use that character model and darken it out so that it's still a mystery. Another thing, I just want to throw this out here, I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of 14, but I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to make a brand new character, and I'm going to make an Ara to kind of show off the new character, or new race that they have, rather. I haven't decided on my class yet, but I'm going to start recording some of that. It's going to be very story focused, so if you are on the fence maybe about buying into it, because I know everyone kind of feels the monthly payment thing is a little bit hard to stomach sometimes, but I really feel like this game's worth it. So I'm going to be showing off a lot of the story stuff. We'll be doing all the side quests probably, and the main storyline. And there's, probably some good voice acting out of me, I'm sure. But look forward to that. And this video has been rather long, maybe, of me talking, showing some stuff from the game. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing more RPG stuff. I've got quite a few things lined up now that I've had some full-time thought to really put into the channel, so you'll be seeing some new things, which I'm very excited about, and I'm probably going to do a few more streams of different things, just to kind of see how the streaming thing works for me. But thank you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, brr.